All right, all right. It is currently Sunday, September 29th, 2024, approximately 1:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, here back with another one. What we're going to do is, or what I'm going to do, just sharing it with you, is take a look, do some analysis, for the week, and see what we're looking at, how the market is setting up on a couple of our pairs, and then be done for the day. All right. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So first, we're going to share our screen here. Okay. All right, so the very first thing we're going to do, as we should always be doing at the beginning of any trading session, is looking at our higher time frame. All right, so first we're going to start off on our daily chart here. As we can see, there's no question about what Friday looked like, how the market left off. Um, very, very, a lot of bearish momentum, as we can see, which took us into this daily support level right here. So that's exactly where we are. And this move actually had quite a bit of volume in comparison to the days prior. So you see almost 800K volume in this move right here. The previous day we had almost 500. The day before that, 500, 500. So definitely an uptick in volume. And that was due to news, lots of fundamentals on Friday. So we had a big price swing that day. So in any case, but again, to get our directional bias for the next trading session and probably the one after that, we can see that we're very bearish, right? So we got a lot of bearish momentum. Market pushed up, but then pushed down with a lot of bearish momentum. So no question there. What our bias, our directional bias should be for the next trading session. So always want to make sure we understand, where we're coming from so that we know where we're going. Okay. All right. And as we can see, we'll do one more little tidbit of analysis on this daily time frame, but we can see that we still got quite a bit of volume. We got quite a bit of volume in this support zone. This support zone right here, quite a bit of volume. But we'll go look and see what that looks like in the lower time frames. All right, so let's go to our technical analysis chart. Okay, as we look at our 1 hour chart on UJ, we can see that we pushed away from we just missed the daily resistance right at the top here, indicative of this 1 hour resistance that developed. Again, you can see here where we had very low volume. Obviously the price was pushed up in order to drop it down, or what have you for the news. So obviously somebody knows what's going on, right? Before the news even comes out. So in any case, we see we had a drop base, right? So we had some consolidation right here for the market continue to push down. We pushed through our high volume area, right? We see this entire area right here. Remember, you want to count this entire zone, this entire zone where you see these yellow candles, and you can see some developing yellow as well. So, keep that in mind, right? As price comes back into this area right here. Okay. So we created a support, a 1 hour support during that same trading session, it looks like. And so again, we pushed through. Obviously, the momentum, the bearish momentum was very strong. But something to note. So again, as we were seeing on the daily time frame, again, our bias is bearish, right? Because we had a lot of bearish momentum. Unless something changed drastically in the fundamentals, then we're going to continue with that bearish momentum for a while, even if we get a pullback. So that's what we want to look for. We want to look for a pullback and then a continuation to the downside, possibly. So as we can see, right, in the area that we're in the zone, and we can see we're in this daily support zone. I added the daily support and resistance to my 1 hour technical chart here because I wanted to again get an idea of without having to go to the daily back and forth, even though I have a third screen that shows me the daily chart all day, but just for educational purposes for the videos, and just watching, being able to just watch one screen possibly that's right in front of my face. I added the daily support and resistance levels just to see where price is in relation to it because this is my higher time frame bias. As we can see here, we see that inside of this daily support that we're in, we see that the volume is still average volume, right? We're not in a place of low volume just yet. We're in a place of high volume with average volume. So that indicates that we have trading activity. So we have some average trading activity going on, or that's still existent and prevalent in this particular area in this zone here. So what I'm looking for is price to come down here and take out and mitigate this daily liquidity that was left behind back on September 20th, right? So looking for price to come back down and mitigate that and then get into this low volume area where you can see we have the buyers haven't necessarily stepped into this area right here. So we have some selling pressure that's still there, but again, very, very low volume, right? So that could be some good liquidity for a reversal or what have you on the 1 hour time frame. But for right now, our bias, right, for the foreseeable future, right, for the current future or the present, right, is bearish, right? So we look for a pullback and a continuation. We see that we have this big fair value gap right here. So we can look for price at some point, either to mitigate this area first before pulling back, or it'll pull back, to this 1 hour support, get into this zone right here. We see we got yellow building up, so we can reverse anywhere in this area right here, right? Again, we know we got the fair value gap here, and we'll look on our 5 minute to get our indication of the best places that price may look to reverse once it pulls back, right? So again, looking at it, we still have some pressure, some selling pressure for the next trading session. Now, how this can shake out is, and you have to be mindful of how this works, right? As the trading session opens, today, so Sunday starts an entire new week, new trading session for the Forex market, right? You could have a lot of pent up traders over the weekend. We don't know. I'm not sure of any drastic. Well, there is some drastic news. I'm not going to mention it, here in this educational video. But there was some fundamental news. I'm not sure how that affects the markets. So again, understanding how news over the weekend can affect the opening of the trading session, right? Most of the time, though, things acquired over the weekend, you're not going to have a lot of liquidity, in the opening of the trading session. But if something drastic happens, then there's a lot of traders that have orders that's pending that could start to play out at the beginning of the trading session. That's why you'll see that sometimes. And you'll see big moves happening, on Sundays. But that's not typical, right? We don't typically have a lot of liquidity in the market at the beginning of Sunday's trading session. So not a good session. Tokyo session isn't a good session to trade anyway because there's not a lot of liquidity. But from time to time, I do see that the opening of the new trading week has a lot of pressure, could have a lot of pressure one way or another, and that's pent up pressure again due to some fundamentals that may have happened over the weekend. So that's something to watch for. I would say if you look to trade in in an environment like that, I would say be very careful, mind your risk. And that's why I mention it because again, I think sometimes we get confused because the trading session on Sundays may open up and we have some big movement. But again, understanding what that is, why that is, can help you to understand and better frame your trade setups and stuff. Because there could be opportunities to get in. You just got to mind your risk if you do get in on, that type of environment and movement, right? Understand why the market is doing what it's doing before you get in that trade. So again, just wanted to share that with you because I know it can be a bit confusing sometimes because we like to say that there's not a lot of liquidity in the beginning of the trading weekend session. So watch that. So again, what my preference in a trade setup with UJ right now would be, for right now, it looks like we still got some bearish pressure. So we may come back, we may come down, like I said, and mitigate, this liquidity before we pull back. We may get into this low um, volume area before we pull back. At some point, we are going to pull back in the bigger trade, and we can absolutely catch a great trade, off of this continuation to the downside, right? And we can catch a trade, off of a pullback. Right, we can catch that pullback, into this area and zone right here. Again, just minding your risk, right? But the bigger trade for me is going to come when we do get that pullback, into this area somewhere, this 1 hour support when price comes to test this area right here, getting into this yellow zone right here. This to me is going to be the bigger trade. That's the one that I'm really looking for. So if I don't catch anything on a continuation to the downside, or I don't catch anything, with the pullback to the upside, I'm absolutely okay with that. I'll, watch the market. And again, if I don't feel comfortable getting in anything, again, I know where my big opportunity lies, and that's with a good pullback into this area right here, this entire zone, to look for my bearish setups for a push to the downside. That's really what I'm looking at. Now, if something happens and the entire environment changes and we get a lot of activity to the downside where price is now on top of that activity, then I'll definitely be looking to change my mindset and my bias to be more bullish at that point. So when we get a stack of volume, and price is on top of that stack, I'm looking to take bullish setups at that point. Remember, when price is above the high volume areas, right, we're looking for bullish setups, right? But when price is below it, we're looking for bearish setups. That's how we play that, right? So as price makes its way back towards this area from the bottom up, right, we're looking for opportunities to get in for a sale, right? When price is above it and it makes its way back towards it, we're looking for opportunities for the buy, right? So again, that's kind of how you want to play that, understanding where our low volume areas are and where our average activity areas are. All right, so that's it. I think that's enough on UJ. Let's take a quick peek at EJ. Oh, first, before we do that, let's go to our 5 minute chart real quick, our lower time frame. Again, we got to know what's going on. A time frame above and a time frame below. Again, we got to make sure we got that full picture, right? So UJ, looking at our 5 minute setup here. Look at this. This would have been a great setup. You see how we got this 5 minute resistance that formed here. Price pushed down, came back into this 1 hour support zone, right? So this was a support, price pushed through this support zone, came back, tested it, right? And we got this 5 minute resistance and price pushed down. That would have been a really great opportunity to get in on the continuation to the downside. And we see, like I said in the previous video, we got that 5 minute support that started to form right here. Or what have you. So we'll see how that plays out. But one thing to note, right? We know, so in this area right here, this is not a low volume area. So again, that goes into what we were saying about we still have some selling pressure. We still got some selling pressure in this area, right? We got some volume here. It's not a low volume area, even on the 5 minute. So we can look for continuation to the downside with that volume. Now, this volume could very well turn into some buying pressure and push the market up, but I think that would be temporary at best, right? But just again, something to note, which is why we keep an eye on our technical time frame, the 1 hour, the daily for our overall bias, and then we're looking at the 5 minute to get a little closer to the price action, right? Or what have you. So I'd like to see how this plays out, how this 5 minute support holds or breaks, whatever may be, right? We can see that the area just above it though seems to be a little less activity, right, than in the current zone or area. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go to UJ and get an idea of what EJ. I'm sorry. Let's go to EJ. Hold on. Keep these charts the way they are. All right, so we're gonna go to EJ real quick. Do a quick top-down analysis. I can start from right here, but we're gonna do a bottom. We're gonna do a bottom-up analysis because EJ is pretty much the same. We're seeing kind of the same things in EJ that we're seeing in UJ. But I do note that with EJ though, we are actually in a red area. We're in a low activity area, and we got this support right here. So that is a difference between UJ and EJ. We actually have some low activity in this area, in this zone right here, this 5 minute, and we got buying sentiment. So this market could be looking to push up, before it goes down, if it's looking to go down. But right now, yeah, looking at this 5 minute. Yep, I see exactly where we are. And again, we see that 5 minute resistance that developed in this 1 hour support zone, right? That again, dope, could have been a dope setup, right? Really dope setup. All right, so let's go look at our daily chart first. Now I'm gonna change this to EJ. Oh, I like the way this looks. Oh, this looks good. Oh yeah, I like the way these zones pop out on the heat map, right? Oh yeah, that's pretty dope. When we see how price move through this blue area pretty good, bounce right off of this low liquidity area. Look at that. I like the way this pops right here. I don't know how many rows this is, but man, that looks good. And we see, we push down, right? Came into this red zone, right? Pushed up. Man, EJ, man, I like the way EJ moves. Right. All right. So we pushed into the high volume area. We can see where we did that. And this is the daily, right? And then just like UJ, we did have that big push, that bearish sentiment, right? To the downside, right? So look at what we're getting. Yeah, we can see this is the daily. So, definitely some selling pressure, right? We may get that like we were seeing on the 5 minute with EJ. We might get that push to the upside before we get that continuation to the downside. So it'll be worth watching to see how the market shapes up as the trading session begins. So, but definitely that bearish pressure, no doubt about it, right? Again, I like the way that looks right there. Okay, let's save that. Let's go to our 1 hour chart. We're going to change it to EJ. Okay, let's get a look at it. Okay, lots of activity. Again, not too much different from UJ. But again, we see that we are actually in a red, one of those red zones with low trading activity right now. And as you can see, as EJ goes down, look at this, the sentiment actually is bullish. We actually have bullish sentiment as we go a little further down in this area right here. So definitely if EJ comes and mitigates this liquidity, That's going to be a good opportunity for a reversal back into this support to test the support and get into this area right here. So we're already seeing the buying sentiment. And we know that we're already in a low liquid area right here as well. And right under it, we got it's even more bullish sentiment with some volume with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how EJ does. I kind of like what I'm saying. It looked like some really good opportunities. But again, I think the best opportunity is still going to come with that pullback, right, into this area here. We can see we have a daily support. So for sure, I'm not going to say for sure, but there's a really good chance if we get into this area, this daily support right here, and we mitigate, some of this, we mitigate some of this fair value gap. Oh man, that's going to be a good trade for a push to the downside. I cannot overstate what a trade like that will look like. And this, like, to be honest with you, looking at, how this could go, right? So we have this support, like if it comes all the way back here, right, and doesn't decide to move until it gets up, up here in this area, even better. Even better trade. And you could look to take a trade like this. If it gets up in here and then we start getting reversals, you can take that all the way back down. I would take it all the way back down we can take it down into this area right here or, back down into this area. But just looking at the potential, if we were to, get a trade, at the beginning of this low volume area, right? So let's say right here, and we were to take it down to the point of control, this area. So that's a 200 and something pip move. If we just took it to retest the daily support, if it breaks through the daily support, 130 something pip move, right? We know we got some volume right here. So if we were to just go and take it, to this volume area, we're looking at least 100 pip move. So lots of opportunity if we get a pullback, we get a pullback, look and see where those sell setups start to come into play. Lots of potential for some selling pressure, for some sell trades or what have you. Let me look at one more. Look at one more real quick. Let's take a look at what gold is doing. All right, gold. So this is the 1 hour on gold. So the 1 hour on gold is telling us, yep, we got some buying pressure coming in, pushed down a little bit. It broke these lows right here. So gold is looking to definitely come in, and we can see that we have some volume that's attached with this selling pressure. So right now it's a little bullish, right? So we're pulling back. It looks like a pullback, right? We came off of this low activity area, right? We came out of this low activity zone. So we're pushing in to the zone here. And we see that we got some good selling pressure with a fair value gap and everything. And it's a high volume area. So all of that just tells me that this selling pressure is probably going to hold up and gold is going to come into this zone right here for a retracement back to the downside. So yeah, that's what gold is looking like right now. All right. Okay, that's it. I think I've hit all of the points that I wanted to hit for getting ready for the opening of the new trading week, new trading session. So as always, happy trading to you. Good luck, and let's get to this money.